This is Harlbury in Essex, but it could be any number of towns in and around Great Britain. But it's here in Harlbury, a town that has so little going on, they routinely turn off the traffic lights at 6:30 each evening, 5:30 on Sundays. A town so free of crime, the police have retreated and put the station up for sale. It also recently gained notoriety when it came first in the National Inter-County Bowling Championships. But nestled away down a nondescript side street, there's a new phenomenon taking hold of one of its residents. Clive Steiner is, on the outside, a normal-looking and functioning, everyday man, whose life has been blighted by a condition that affects some of his motor skills, and senses such as speech, touch and hearing. In days gone by, Clive would have been labelled as a gossip, a yakety mouth, a Sally Ann, an Aunt Sally and a Beck. But now in 21st century Britain, his condition has escalated to such catastrophic proportions that he is now labelled as being a Yenta or a Yachna, a term which takes its origins from the Yiddish text for one who speaks or gossips too much, or is generally a big-mouthed, interfering busybody. This has become such a blight on his life that Clive can no longer hold down any kind of job.
You put the phone down. No, you put the phone down. You put the... Hello? Hello?
Was that your girlfriend or a long-term acquaintance? Or just somebody you're deeply in love with?
It was the receptionist at the dentist. Testing. Is it working?
Yeah, we'll change the mic and the lighting.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I've never done anything like this before. Yeah. Well, the only thing I've ever been on is CCTV. That's not really, it's not the same, is it? You're going to put all these in?
Yeah.
Yeah? I've got the little one, yeah? Okay, and then there's the big daddy. And this is the grandma. I like this one. Yeah, it's my favourite one, this. Yeah.
Can you go back and tell us when you actually realised you were first becoming a Yenta? And
Yeah, it was an ad break for Coronation Street. And Michael Lipman, the queen of all Yentas, came on as BT on the British Telecom ads. Do you remember? Yeah, it was funny. Well, I was blown away. And I'd never seen anyone handle a phone like that before. It was the way she spoke in that very Jewish way. Well, it resonated with me and I was smitten. And it was then that I decided I need to turn my life around and use the gifts that God had given me and unleash it on the world.
What were those gifts?
Well, my voice, opinions, imparting my knowledge about everything. To, as people say, embellish the truth and a chance to tell everyone basically what they were doing wrong.
But doesn't it annoy or upset you that you're referred to as a Yenta?
No, not really. You see, I've never really been good at anything up until now. So I just look on it as a talent that people are jealous of. And I just happen to be good at sticking my nose into other people's business where it's not really needed.
Really?
Well, yeah, because it means people take notice of me. You see, we've never had a real Yenta or Yachna in my family before. And I feel very honoured that I've found something that people take notice of and that basically I'm really good at.
Over the next months and years, Clive built up a considerable collection of communication devices that would enable him to converse with the world. Devices that were either constantly with him or around him. But by now, he was losing friends at an alarming rate.
I started finding out that friends were buying up supplies of answering machines because whenever I rang them, I'd go straight through to a recorded message. And it would be days of endlessly calling, but it was just a waste of time. See, at first I thought it was the machines that were faulty and my messages weren't being recorded. Until one day, the police came to my door and presented me with a cease and desist order. And I was told to stop calling my friends or else I'd find myself doing bird. Which, funny enough, was what British Telecom used to use as a marketing campaign before Maureen Lipman. I mean, who can forget Busby, eh? Make someone happy. Make someone happy. I preferred Busby to Bob Hoskins. I mean, that little rabbit-loving twerp. He said it was good to talk. But he didn't get plod coming round waving their bit of paper.
What's your favourite phone, Clive?
Well, like I said before, it has to be this one. I mean, it's just a wonderful piece of design. Very clever, because it even looks like it is, doesn't it? It's very clever, very apt. But a close second has to be this little beauty, because it was on this phone that Winston Churchill called Ronald Reagan to discuss the bombing of Pearl Harbor. And I've even got a signed certificate from Winnie himself.
But Ronald Reagan wasn't president then. He was still a 30-year-old actor in 1941 and was actually shooting a western called Two Gun Cupid.
Turn it off. Turn it off!
A little later we resumed the interview and I asked Clive about his leisure time. What happens if you go on holiday? Do you take the phones with you, or do you chat and mix with the people around you?
Well, yeah, I really haven't been away for years, but I'm happy to leave most of the phones here. So I used to take two of my favourite mobiles and a tablet.
Oh, you use a pad?
No. It's prescription capsules that help me control my ongoing laryngitis. So I remember there was one occasion on a holiday in Portugal it was, where I was nicknamed Motormouth.
Didn't you take offence?
At first I did, but I figured that whilst they were taking the mickey out of me, they were leaving someone else alone. See, I think there was some kind of narcoleptic bug going around the hotel, because I noticed that as I approached people around the pool area, they'd suddenly fall asleep. I suppose I was lucky because it never affected me.
What about social media? Do you use that a lot?
Definitely. I love a chat room. You see, people love hearing about my life. But recently some of the people who've been unemployed or housebound or long-term disabled have been getting jobs here and abroad. So when I log on, they're not free to talk. But good on them.
Do you think that that's maybe because you're wasting their time?
No, not really, because there's always time. And like the Cyndi Lauper song says, there's time after time. So there's always time after I finish speaking to do other things. And then when they finish doing those things, they can do other things.
In true Yenta fashion, Clive continued constantly Yachnaing with his now familiar linguistic nonsense. After what seemed an eternity, another 2.5 hours had passed, and we finally managed to extricate ourselves from the house. It was only when one of our crew told him mistakenly that Maureen Lipman was coming round that he should go upstairs and prepare himself for her visit. We never got to say goodbye. Soon after the making of this documentary, Clive had a chronic vocal collapse. He vowed to carry on radically increasing his texting and that he would learn sign language so that he could, in his own whispers and hand gestures, carry on his good work, but this time with the hard of hearing. Our production team contacted the British Deaf Association for a comment, who said they would be taking necessary and appropriate action in the event that he contacts them.